Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another live stream. We haven't been live in more than 2 weeks because I was sick, unfortunately, and I'm back. And we're going to be talking Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve that was announced, and we're going to be talking about the alt season that everyone's waiting for. So if you have any altcoins you'd like to take a look at, let me know down below in the comments. So you can send your altcoin requests, and I tried to keep up with the markets as much as I could, but when you're sick, you don't really want to be in front of your screen 24/7. But we had the crypto summit in the White House, so we're going to cover that. And let's start jumping into the news. So this is coming out March 7th. So yesterday, the Office of the Comptroller of Currency has just declared that national banks are now allowed to custody crypto assets. So this means not only Bitcoin, but any cryptocurrencies they want to start getting into. So if some of them decide to buy, let's say, Quant, that Scott Williamson is requesting, or Ethereum, then that will obviously cause a pump. So we should be on the lookout for US banks now acquiring or announcing that they're going to be acquiring certain cryptocurrencies. And that's a pretty bullish thing long-term, in my opinion. And this is coming from the Crypto Summit. So the White House posts, America will be the Bitcoin superpower of the world. They're not going to be able to do that with a mere 200,000 Bitcoin, half of which will be returned to Bitfinex. So the US government already holds a substantial amount of Bitcoin, and that is pretty much the Bitcoin they've confiscated from either illegal activities or from, as you can see, Bitfinex. They're going to be returning that to Bitfinex. And Trump did say that they will be looking into different ways of acquiring Bitcoin, which obviously means purchasing it. So they didn't say they're going to be buying it right now, and that's exactly what's causing the dump, is that they said they will be creating the reserve out of their existing holdings of Bitcoin, which some people said is probably going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. And now people are selling this news. And it's funny how everyone was waiting to get the SBR announcement. And when we finally got it, the price is dumping. And this is coming from Bitcoin Magazine. Michael Saylor advised President Trump at the White House summit today to acquire up to 25% of the Bitcoin network. And Michael Saylor has been talking about that for a while. He even suggested the US government dump all of their gold and buy Bitcoin instead. That will devalue gold, and they'll have a massive share of the Bitcoin supply, which is a smart move if you want to take advantage of this situation early. But I really don't want the US government holding a substantial amount of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done great without the US government holding a substantial amount of coins, and it will continue to do so. So let's hope that no massive government will be able to buy a huge amount of coins. So this is what they're suggesting: 5 to 25% of the Bitcoin network in trust for the nation through consistent programmatic daily purchases between 2025 and 2035, when 99% of all Bitcoin will have been issued. The strategic Bitcoin reserve has the potential to generate $16 to $81 trillion in wealth for the US Treasury by 2045, which is just 20 years away, which is crazy to think about. Offering a viable pathway to offset the national debt. Never sell your Bitcoin. By 2045, the reserve should be generating $10+ trillion annually, continuously growing and serving as a perpetual source of prosperity for the American people for generations to come. Obviously sounds almost too good to be true, but that is Michael Saylor's plan. Now here, Trump is saying the Treasury and Commerce departments will also explore new pathways to accumulate additional Bitcoin holdings for the reserve. Obviously, this means OTC purchases. That's at least what I would understand this as. Maybe there are other ways that I'm not aware of, but obviously purchasing Bitcoin is the most obvious way to get a hold of Bitcoin. And they'll probably get some discounts when they're buying over the counter if it's a massive amount, but that's sometimes what they do, but we'll see. And this is the Coinbase CEO, Brian Armstrong, I believe his name is. Many of the G20 countries will follow the US to establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And this is something we've been talking about for a long time on the channel, is that once the US does or announces the Bitcoin reserve, other countries will follow. And we've seen other countries trying to get ahead of the herd, like the Czech Republic, and some people were talking about Poland, but I don't think Poland is going to be getting a Bitcoin reserve anytime soon. And the EU is mostly negative. They have a negative stance on Bitcoin, at least the current government. But we'll see, maybe Japan, right? It would be interesting to see Japan coming into the fold and buying a bunch of Bitcoin. That would be a great way to revive their economy. But yeah, this is obviously bullish long term for anyone who's holding Bitcoin. This is essentially your stamp of approval from the entire world. And this is essentially saying that Bitcoin will not go to zero ever. Okay, unless there's a new Bitcoin in 100 years that does whatever Bitcoin's doing 100 times better. But we're not going to dive into those kind of speculations. And next up, we have FIFA claiming they're interested in creating a FIFA token and are considering developing it in the US. So this is a no-brainer. A lot of companies and corporations will start creating their own currencies because there will be government regulation at that point. So it's not going to be just a pump and dump meme coin scams, kind of like what Trump and Libra coins were. So hopefully we'll have things like that. I can already see FIFA having its own bull market cycle, its own 4-year cycle, where every time there's a World Cup, the price of the token starts rising. So that would be an interesting concept. Hopefully they don't involve the token in gambling, but they always do. So we'll see. And this is coming from Zach, CryptoZach LA, which is a really good account here on X. So I recommend you follow this guy. He does a lot of good posts and he covers a lot of low caps that, in the AI category, in the RWA category that I haven't heard of sometimes. So I try to check out other creators and see what they're talking about. But here he is trying to break down a few scenarios for Bitcoin. And this is the 1-hour chart. So he's saying, these are the scenarios I'm watching for Bitcoin this weekend, early next week. We break above the trend line, continue grinding against it, and break up. So this is the first scenario. And this is the green trend line here. Secondly, or the second scenario is we break down to Monday low, retest a long trend line, and go up, which is this red one here. So we have a retest of these lows at approximately $80,000. And from there, we start moving to the upside. And the third scenario, the most bearish one, is we break down to Monday low and continue down to monthly open and break down lower to form 80 to 78,000 support. So here, this blue line shows us how this would play out, essentially coming back down to these lows at $78,000, $79,000. And he says, I personally think blue is most likely, with red being second and green being third. So obviously any of these can play out. I think that we've been down and we've been in this bearish trend for a very long time. So sooner or later, things have to reverse because they can never be going up forever and they can never be going down forever. So if your altcoins are down 60 to 70 to 80%, now is the time to be accumulating. Of course, not financial advice, but this time period really reminds me of the May 2021 correction into July 2021. Everyone was bearish. Everyone was saying the alt season is over. Everyone was saying the bull market is over. Everyone was saying that crypto is dead. But then we had a massive recovery towards the end of the year. I don't think it will play out exactly the same way, but I do think there are a lot of similarities between the two corrections. But this correction is nowhere close to how devastating that 2021 pullback was. So we'll see what happens in March. Supposedly this has to be a bullish month for crypto. So let's see. Now, China holds more than double the Bitcoin than the United States. So essentially, if we go to this screenshot here, so the United States hold 112,000 Bitcoin, and I believe this is without the amount that they're supposed to return to Bitfinex. The UK has 61,000, Finland has 1.9 thousand, Bhutan has 13,000, China has 194,000 Bitcoin. All of those are confiscated. Georgia has 66, Ukraine has 46,000, Venezuela has 240, and El Salvador has 6.8 or 6.08 thousand Bitcoin. And we're going to have this map updated throughout 2025, and I believe a lot more countries will be added, especially some of the Arab Gulf countries. I think Qatar, Bahrain, and probably Saudi Arabia will be acquiring Bitcoin. So stay on the lookout for that. Once some countries start announcing that they're going to be developing Bitcoin reserves, I think that is going to be one of the news that's going to reverse the markets for us here, because this was more of a sell the news event because of how Trump announced it, right? He didn't outright say that they're going to be buying Bitcoin. He just said we're going to create a reserve with the coins that we already have. And we knew that they had those coins, but everyone was under the assumption that they were going to be buying 200,000 Bitcoin every single year, which was not announced. And thank you everyone for joining the live stream. Make sure to leave a like and share it. It does help the channel out. And we'll get to your comments in a little bit and all your requests. And of course, feel free to check out our Patreon. We have a 7-day free trial. If you still haven't done that, make sure to check it out. We have a lot of low cap gem videos. We have quite a few exit strategies, I believe around 20 videos on exit strategies for different altcoins. I'm sure you'll find at least a few that you hold. And those are just my personal exit strategies, what I would be doing. And if you're looking to get a ledger, then there will be a link down below in the description. You can get back at least $10 to $20 in Bitcoin as a bonus. So make sure to check that out. All right, moving up to the last few posts here. These are the regulatory changes to Bitcoin since 2020. So 34 countries approved Bitcoin ETFs or ETPs, and the US allowed banks to custody Bitcoin in 2025, which happened just recently. Venezuela banned Bitcoin mining in 2024, and that was a negative thing, but Venezuela is not a massive country, so it didn't affect us too much. One country that I'm not seeing on the list is Morocco, that banned Bitcoin mining, I believe, in 2017. And now they've lifted those restrictions, I think, late last year. Bolivia legalized Bitcoin in 2024. Argentina legalized Bitcoin payments in 2023. Russia legalized mining and Bitcoin's usage in international payments in 2024. And then Russia banned mining in a lot of the occupied territories. So that's not mentioned there as well. China partially banned Bitcoin mining in 2021. Hong Kong allowed investors access to Bitcoin in 2023. And Hong Kong is setting up to be one of the main crypto hubs of the world. And the US is essentially competing with Hong Kong. Turkey legalized Bitcoin payments in 2024. Nigeria legalized Bitcoin in 2023. So Turkey and Nigeria suffering from inflation, as well as Argentina. And I'm pretty sure Bolivia's currency is not doing too well. I haven't checked it out, but I'm pretty sure it's not doing too well. So these are just some of the updates to regulatory policies regarding Bitcoin from around the world. And these will add up as time goes by. Like I said, 2025 is looking like it's going to be a very bullish year for Bitcoin. So don't get too bearish just yet. Now, World Liberty Financial has significantly increased its Ethereum holdings. Over the past week, the company nearly doubled its ETH assets. So if you go, and this is coming from Arkham Intelligence, so Ethereum has been purchased by Liberty Finance. If you go to Arkham, we can search up It's not the right language. What's the Liberty? Oh, World Liberty Phi. Okay. So World Liberty Phi. There we go. So that's the ETH holdings here. And they're transferring a bunch of ETH here. So if I open that, so currently they have $16.5 million worth of Ethereum. That's 7.4 thousand ETH. And the current price is 2,200. So I don't think they're doing that because they're dumb. I think they're doing that because they know that Ethereum is going to start pumping. And I'm not an Ethereum bull. I don't think Ethereum is the best layer one out there, but it's a juggernaut in terms of TVL, in terms of adoption, right? It's the number one layer one at the moment in terms of market cap as well. So people are looking, and corporations are going to be looking at Ethereum before they look at anything else. Solana is obviously catching up, and arguably Solana is the number one layer one right now. If you want to look at revenue and fees and speed of the network, then Solana has been absolutely destroying Ethereum in 2024. We'll see if things change in 2025. Let me know what you guys think Ethereum is going to be doing. If we jump into the price action for ETH, let's see what's going on here. So this is a cleaner chart. I just want to make sure I get it right. There we go. So right now we're sitting at the 0.5 here, 2,200. That was our low back in September 2024, and that was our support here in January 2024 before we had that massive pump. So this area is holding pretty well at the moment. We have some wicks below it, and this area was our resistance, in fact. So if I create like a massive block here in the middle, you're going to see that this area has a lot of confluence. So you have back tests of support here. You have back tests of resistance here, 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 and then over here. And then you come back, you retest it as support, you pump, you have a back test of support 1 time, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6. So this block has a lot of confluence, and hopefully we're going to be able to hold the price within this block. So this is going to be between 23 or 2,350 down to $2,000. If you want, you can set up some buy limit orders below this block in case they decide to liquidate a bunch of people. You can take a look at $1,876. You can set up some limit orders there. You can target this local top here. You can target this area. So this little range, let me show you. So this little range here could be attacked, right? We can retest this at $1,700 or so. So feel free to set up some buy limit orders in case there's a quick flash crash. But a lot of people are buying Ethereum right now. A lot of people are switching from Solana to Ethereum because Solana has had a move to the upside. Ethereum hasn't even broken its all-time high. So I think once that happens, once Ethereum has that massive pump, especially when it breaks the all-time high, altcoins will go parabolic. We haven't seen the same euphoric rise for the total three as we've seen in 2017, as we've seen in 2020 to 2021. So we still haven't gotten that massive alt season. And that's potentially on the horizon. Aloha, aloha. Thank you. Very nice to have you as well. Thank you for joining. Scott Williamson is asking for Quant. Let's take a look at Quant. And look at Radium, by the way, dropping below $2. There you go. So this is Quant. And we're on the weekly chart. Let me remove that there. Actually, let's remove all of these. Okay, so Immediately, I can identify a massive resistance level over there. We've retested that back in October 2022 and in December 2024. And we can also identify this massive support trend line. We've retested that in June 2022 and in November 2024. So this is a symmetrical triangle here. And as you know, the closer you get to the apex, the stronger or the bigger the chances of a breakout. However, it's going to take us years to get to the apex of that pattern, right? We could be in there until like 2030. It's definitely not going to play out for that long. What is possible here is that if we have a flash crash, if we have a massive correction across the markets for whatever reason, quant could potentially dump to this support. We've retested that support multiple times already, and this fourth time could come into play very soon if we have a correction. If things don't start pumping or we don't reverse, we don't have a massive alt season in the next few weeks, we have a correction instead, I would be targeting this. It would take us to roughly 58 to 60-ish dollars, and you can set up some buy limit orders down there. Now, we're also back testing the 20 EMA resistance on the weekly chart, as well as this line at $98.70. We've had that trend line on for a very long time. It's based on a few touches that we had on the daily chart, but we're failing to break past $98 essentially, or $99. That's a big problem for quant, but this is definitely a good area to be dollar cost averaging at. We were in the overbought here when we were sitting past $170, and now we've seen a massive correction here. A more than 57% correction for quant. Definitely a good time to stack more tokens if you're bullish on the project. I know some people are really bullish on quant. They're expecting 1,000 plus. Hopefully we'll be able to get to those prices, but we'll see. At the moment, we haven't even broken past the November 2022 top. So it's very hard to set some strong predictions. What we can do is we can set up a Fibonacci retracement. And we have our 1.618 at $580. From where we are at the moment, that would be a 586% to the upside. So close to 7x, which I think would be a very nice top for this cycle for quant. And then the second fib level would be at $1,000. So if you believe $1,000 is going to happen for quant, by all means, you can hold. But I would like to start taking profits along the areas here. So even if you're expecting 1,000, that does not mean you have to hold your entire bag until 1,000. You can still take some profits at 420, at 580, and so on. And you can set up whatever targets you want to, of course. This is just me showing what I'm seeing on the chart. But this is definitely looking like it has the potential for a pretty big breakout here, taking us to $580 for quant. So let me know what's your opinion on quant, Scott. I personally don't own any quant, but it's definitely one of the safer coins to get into. Hello, sir. Macro targets for Pendle, please. Let's take a look at Pendle. So which one should I use? Let's use this one. Okay, so Pendle, $400 million market cap. It's already listed on Binance, OKX, Upbit, Kraken, Gate. So no Coinbase. I don't see Coinbase. We have BitGet, so pretty much everything except Coinbase. That would be the only other listing. And this got listed during the bull market in 2021, right during that correction that we had in spring. So it got listed at the end of April. And then first week of May, we have that crash and this thing goes down. But then we did print new all-time highs. And in April 2024, we were sitting at $7. So this has seen quite a bit of a retracement. let's take a look at the price action chart. Okay, so this is going to be the weekly. So from the bottom, prices here, let's say November 2022, this thing went up 23,500%. Scott Williamson says, seems like a slower mover, so I may transition into faster moving coins. Yes, definitely. I've been looking at quant charts for a very long time now, more than a year, and more than actually a year and a half. And it is very slow. It is very slow. So if you like something that is guaranteed to give you like a 50% return, you can stay in quant, obviously. But if you're looking for something a little more volatile, maybe look into some of the top AI coins, into some of the top RWA coins like Ondo. I would not look at Mantra right now. It's seen quite a massive pump already. So yeah, try to see what other options you have, because it seems like quant has been just dragging its feet this entire cycle. But going back to Pendle. So it seems that we have ourselves a 1 to 5 wave structure here. 1, 2, 3, and I guess this would be our 4. So this entire thing here is our wave 4, and then we're looking at our wave 5. And we can set up a Fibonacci retracement. So we took the bottom here from August 2024, and we took the top from April 2024. And we're looking at $11.15 as our minimal target here. So from where we are right now, that would be 360%. And then we have $13.64 as our 1.414. That's almost a 6x. And then we have $18.22 as our 1.618. And that's almost a 7x. So it is possible we're going to get to those numbers. Those are not huge numbers. If you look at the market cap of Pendle, it's only a $400 million market cap. A 7x from here would put us at 2.8 billion. So it's not a lot. But you have to understand it has gone up 23,500% already. So maybe it's not even going to break past its all-time high. That is a possibility, right? I'm not saying that's definitely what we're looking at here, but I'm saying you have to consider all possibilities. So once we have our next pump here, I would suggest you start taking profits at this first local top here. That's $6.70. Then you can take some more profits at $7.58. And then you can start taking little by little out as we're approaching, as we're approaching $9 to $11. And you can leave a small bag after that to ride it out until $13 to $18. But I would not be expecting $18, guys. Okay, just to be conservative, I would not be expecting that. And this is a valid Elliott wave structure, just because some people might see wave 1 being a little bigger than wave 3. They might think that it's not a valid Elliott wave structure. So the way it works is wave 3 has to be bigger than either wave 1 or wave 5. Then it is a valid Elliott wave structure. Okay, so that's very important. Another important thing to consider is that we don't want the wave 4 low to dip below the wave 1 high. Okay, so we don't want to be going down that low. So those are two important things to consider. In terms of the RSI on the weekly, Pendle is pretty close to its bottom prices here. Let me see. And it looks like we are, I wanted to say we have a bullish divergence, but we are kind of printing a lower low here. with the candle. We'll see where the candle closes, but if this is a lower low here, and we're going to be printing a horizontal support over here, if we close the candle where we need to close it, which is going to be above like $2.40, then this could be a pretty significant bullish divergence for us, which would be a signal telling us that, hey, we might be reversing very soon. Thank you for Pendle. No problem, my friend. No problem. Ezekiel, still hold Moon River or GLMR? I still hold Moon River. I sold my GLMR at minimum profit. I can even tell you when I sold it. And obviously all of this was available to my patrons because I share all of that with them. So I sold my GLMR at 31 cents almost. And I sold it at like 7.6% profit, right? I sold it in minimum profit and I moved it into other coins that, in my opinion, are going to be performing much better. Yeah. Moon River, I'm still holding Moon River. And I think Mover right now is sitting at very good prices. If I switch over to Moon River, on the weekly, we are holding this support block between $7.35 and $6.11. Hopefully, we'll hold this level until this correction is over, and we can start building our next move to the upside from here. But I would say I'm not very bullish on GLMR at the moment because it's literally been a downtrend. It's literally losing its support levels, and it's not a very good chart. So I'm glad I decided to get out of that in time. If you take a look at GLMR, so I sold it during this pump here. I sold it during this pump. I can actually give you the exact date when I sold the Moonbeam tokens. I'm not saying it's never going to go up, right? I'm just saying that I prefer to stay. I sold it November 30th. So November 30th was essentially this week here, sometime here. This last week of November. So I'm glad I made that decision because it's literally losing its support levels, and that is a negative sign from the chart. So this is essentially still in a bear market. This coin is still in a bear market. And there are some rumors about Polkadot ETFs going around. We'll see if that plays out. That could be bullish for the Polkadot ecosystem. But I'm not saying that simply because of that, GLMR is going to reverse and we're going to see, 85 cents retested again, which we need to break in order to kind of reverse this whole thing. Because 81 cents is the resistance level that sent us down into this bear market initially, right? We had the quick capitulation, and then we started retracing back and we got rejected from that 81 cents area. Elorm, how are you doing? Great to have you. The crypto community seems ungrateful considering we had a government hostile to crypto just a year ago. What more do they expect? Yeah, so people have this expectation that everything will go up quickly and there won't be any corrections and they're going to make money in an instant like that, especially the newcomers that are coming into the space and filling up the comment sections and everything with FUD and with negativity. I can understand why they're doing that, but it doesn't make it right. They're not doing any research. They don't know what they're getting into. They're probably buying stuff at all-time high prices. And that is why even a pro-crypto US government, which we thought would be impossible like a year ago, is not going to change the sentiment around. And this is, this has been the thing for forever in markets. There are people that follow the herd. There are people that buy the tops and sell at the lows. And then there's a very small portion of people that would do the opposite of that, or a very small portion that would be able to time it properly and get out in time. Any price target for Moon River? So we've covered Moon. If you want, you can take a look at some of my updates on YouTube regarding Moon River, but just to quickly give you an idea. So we're expecting $90 to $84 as a pretty strong resistance level. Okay, so you can take some profits there. And we're also expecting $171 to $238 for Moon River. But we'll see what happens with the Polkadot ecosystem if it's going to be underperforming. And we have one massive pump again for Moon River, like the one that we had here in December 2023, because this pumped 11x very quickly in a short period of time. Essentially in a week, right? In a week, you had this 11x pump. If that happens again from here, okay, and we get to $70-ish, I'm probably going to sell most of my Moon River because we're going to see a correction after that pump, okay? Or at least in terms of math, the probabilities are we're going to see a massive correction after that 11x. So yeah, be careful holding through this next pump that we could have for Moon River. It likes to pump very quickly, and even if your targets aren't met, and you have the opportunity to sell at a 10x, because for me, selling at $70+ would be a 10x move for my holding. Like, I would be grateful for that. So, of course, we can target 171 and 238, but unless things dramatically change for the Polkadot ecosystem, it's possible we're not going to be seeing, $200 for Moon River in this cycle. And the silence around Sony 13P, I think this is a bot, I'll be honest. Looks like a bot to me. What is a Sony 13P? Yeah, it's just some scam coin on base. But all in all, I'm bullish on the markets. I'm bullish on crypto. Let's take a look at the total 3. I want to show you the total 3, guys. And let's go to the weekly. So we've had this pump in the total 3, which is essentially all of market caps together outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's the entire crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is an easier way to put it. And this essentially shows you how the altcoins are moving. So if you go back to 2020 to 2021, we had this massive rally in altcoins. Okay. And when this happens, the Bitcoin dominance is dropping. We had the same thing in 2017 into the end of the year. The altcoins were rallying very hard and very quickly. And right now, we should be expecting somewhat of a similar situation, but not to the extent that we've had in the previous years, because the markets are maturing every single cycle more and more. So the returns are going to be diminishing over time. But that doesn't mean we're not going to be seeing somewhat of an effect similar to that of 2017 and 2021. So this whole thing that we've had with the altcoin market cap in 2023 to 2025, all of this happened while the Bitcoin dominance was increasing. So if we go to the Bitcoin dominance chart, you can see that from November 2022, the Bitcoin dominance has been growing, okay? We haven't had this dump here. Look at this dump that we've had in 2017 over here. Look at the one that we've had in 2020 to 2021. And we still haven't had anything like that in this cycle. So this is when the altcoin season will come into play. It's possible we're going to dip, down to 44%. That's my conservative expectation. And this is where you're going to get your alt season playing out. And once your coin pumps during that time, it's better you sell. If it did not get to your targets, it's fine. You don't have to hold until those targets are met. The only reason you need those targets in advance is if the coin starts pumping and it starts breaking all of these resistance levels out of nowhere, you have some levels to take a look at and you have some levels to sell at. You have a strategy. But then you also have to understand there are macro indicators that you have to be looking at. And if the old season is playing out right now and your coin is pumping 20x, but you wanted to pump 25x, the chances are you're going to lose your money. So you should probably take profits. But of course, that's not financial advice. So this is the situation that I'm looking at. Alt season is dead. Bitcoin ETF took over. I'm not sure what you mean by Bitcoin ETF took over. Maybe you can elaborate. Because it's not like the people that are buying Bitcoin through ETFs are the people that are buying the altcoins or are causing the alt season to start. When are you expecting the dump? You mean the Bitcoin dominance dump? Well, if you take a look at the altcoin season index, right now we are in Bitcoin season. We're below 25. And this is very similar to what we had back in, there we go, back in December 2020, November 2020, January 2021. We were sitting down here. So we could have Bitcoin pump again, break all-time high prices, maybe get to 120,000, etc. And then after that, we have the dominance dropping. And that's when the altcoins will take off. That is when Ethereum is going to take off. How much bullish or how bullish should you be on Ethereum? Should you be expecting 10K ETH? In my opinion, no. I would say 6 to 7,000 is a pretty decent expectation. Definitely manage your expectation for Ethereum, because some people are calling for a $15,000 Ethereum, $20,000 Ethereum. I don't think that is happening, just my personal opinion. But I do think Ethereum needs to pump in order for us to have that true alt season. And Jungle Boy 420 said the old season is dead. I'm not sure if you're going to elaborate on the Bitcoin ETF taking over, but just because there's Bitcoin ETFs, that doesn't really affect the old season, at least in my opinion. I'm not sure if maybe you're using some metrics that you want to share and share your thoughts behind that. But again, when would this exactly happen? When would the Bitcoin dominance drop? Is hard to say, right? If we continue this way until May, this whole thing could play out towards the end of the year, which personally I wasn't expecting. Throughout the bear market and throughout the early stages of the bull market, I was expecting Bitcoin to print its all-time high in the first half of 2025. In fact, it may have done that already, right? I can't say that the bull market is continuing, but according to previous cycles, we still have some time, at least until September, for this cycle to play out. So I'm pretty confident that we still have some gas in the tank left for this run. So we'll see what happens. But definitely keep an eye on this indicator. The other one is the Bitcoin rainbow chart. Okay, so we have two of them here. This is the old one, and this is the newer one. So right now, as you can see, we are approaching the accumulate, or rather the still cheap area. We were in the hodl area. Now we're in the still cheap area. And then once we start getting to, is this a bubble and FOMO intensifies areas, I think that's when we're going to be setting the Bitcoin top for this cycle. Another indicator for you to look at is the Bitcoin terminal price. Every time the price hits the red trend line, then that is essentially your bull market top signal based on this chart. The other indicator that you can use is the MVRV Z-score, and this has to get to at least a 6 before we start talking about the Bitcoin top, okay? So once that happens, we can be more confident that the top is in. This is what happened back in March, April 2021. And back in 2017, as you can see, we went up like past 8. Yeah, we went up to like 9 or almost 10 there. So this is another indicator to keep in mind. And next up, we have the Pi cycle top indicator. Some people are saying, and some analysts are saying, that this will not give us an accurate signal like it did the previous 3 times, but I still like to keep an eye on it just in case. So these are the few indicators that you should be looking at. And this is the CBBI indicator. So this one is just calling the top essentially. So confidence that we're at the peak, 73%. And this essentially uses a bunch of different indicators and charts. And right now what happened is we were sitting at the confidence of 84, and now we're starting to dump. We've seen a similar thing happen in January 2021. The confidence was sitting at 91, and then we dropped to 81. We had a similar thing happen in 2017 in September. The confidence was sitting at 80. We dropped to like 71. From there, we started pumping, and we, passed. We got to 100% confidence. By the cycle peak of 2021, we were sitting at 99% confidence that was the peak. So definitely keep an eye on this indicator. It's very important. The more indicators you have, the more price targets you have, the more secure you are, because no matter what happens, you'll be able to take profits. You'll know when to sell your altcoins. So you can't really just set price targets and expect everything to play out perfectly. You need price targets. You need market cap targets. You need these indicators to look at. You need to have some RSI targets. You want to look at the macro, okay? You want to look at what's going to happen with the Fed and their FOMC meetings. If we take a look at that right now, people are starting to expect, or the markets are starting to expect, a 25 basis points cut in May. That would be extremely bullish for the markets, okay? So now we have the trade war ongoing between the US, Canada, and Mexico. That is most definitely a negotiating tactic, because if these tariffs go ahead, this will cause pretty significant issues for the US economy, and that is going to cause more inflation. If the inflation starts going up, the Fed won't be able to cut the rates. And we all know that Trump is calling for rates to be cut. So if Trump wants the rates to be cut, obviously he's not going to go against his own plan. So we're definitely sure that this is a negotiating tactic. And then once all of this comes to an end, everything will go back to normal. But we have a 46.6% chance of a 25 basis points cut, okay? And this is a really bullish sign. If we go to the June FOMC meeting, we have a 47% of a 25 basis points cut, while we have a 13.8 of a no change. Again, this is very, very bullish. So you have to take a look at multiple different indicators, and you have to listen to different content creators, different analysts. If you speak multiple languages, I'd recommend you watch analysts in multiple languages. That's what I'm doing, because you want to absorb as much information as possible in order to come up with a strategy that satisfies you, so that you can get out with whatever money you would like to get out with. But that should be the end of this little rant. I won't be able to take any requests, unfortunately. We're going to do another live stream tomorrow. Okay, so make sure to come back tomorrow. We're going to be live streaming probably at around 3 p.m. Eastern time. And make sure to check out our Patreon. Like I said, the link is down below in the description. We have a 7-day free trial. You can get access to all of my portfolios, all of my purchases, all of my sells, all of the low caps. We have a podcast series that's dropping there, and essentially a lot of posts. I think it's around 1,000 posts that you can get your hands on for free, and then you can decide whether you want to stick around or not. Thank you, Elorm. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Much appreciated. Stay safe, everyone, and goodbye.